Alright, so after picking it up, because I did actually really enjoy the 8-hour trial, which hooked me, I figured I would go over Skull and Bones with a bit of a more fine-toothed comb and go back over a few things that I did notice and correct some things as I did encounter them more or come across them just completely new. This is also good to do as Season 1 has just recently launched about 2 weeks ago, and with it, of course, a Battle Pass, as all live service games typically have. So I want to go over how this Battle Pass is implemented with those systems, how the Battle Pass works, the in-game systems, as well as the in-game real cash shop, since I won't have to worry about wasting my trial time grabbing clips and discussing these few things. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into my 70-hour Skull and Bones review. So I do want to talk about some graphical gripes out of the way real quick. I stated that I hadn't really come across any terrain or train pop in at the time, which I had not. As I made my way into the eastern portion of the map, the West Indies, however, the second main area of the game, I started to notice it occasionally in extremely high density areas, particularly when traveling down waterways. It is annoying, sure, but fortunately it's not popping on ships or any terrain you actually have to worry about that you're interacting with. Another addendum to this is just how far your cannonballs and other projectiles actually travel and the distance at which you can see them impact. They will go until they make contact with the environment or another ship. They do not simply phase out of existence, they are physical objects in the game. Overall, the game does look good and has no major issues in that department. There's also just some weird foliage popping occasionally on the banks of rivers for me, and some like aquatic foliage, lily pads and the stuff in those slow waterways in the rivers that can pop in and out depending upon the angle of your camera. Overall, though, the game does look good graphically. The ships look great. The customization options on the ships look great. It is a good package overall. The last gripe I really have with this is how your captain moves on the land, and these are the portions of time you'll spend at the various outposts or the two main settlements in the game. You never seem to kind of get rid of your sea legs. Occasionally, your character won't turn and face the direction you want them to move, and they will just kind of shuffle sideways or backwards, which can kind of mess with if you're trying to interact with various vendors at the outposts or the pirates' dens. It's not game breaking, but it's definitely annoying and sometimes a little bit time consuming, as you'll need to run a fair distance away from the vendor, do a full loop, then come back to fix your orientation to be able to interact with them. Fortunately, there isn't really any urgency in these situations outside of a few lost seconds and the annoyance. However, one thing to do note that is while on foot, your character's traversal up and down stairs and points of incline does look pretty good and organic. Skipping a step here or there, hopping up and down a step, it does look really good. So why is there this weird issue with your character not turning correctly while on foot? I don't know. They seem to have done some pretty good stuff with traversal up and down inclines with the Anvil engine, and some things not so much, like actually moving your captain around.
Ahoy, pirate. Your infamy has grown to overshadow that of even your most roguish peers, including me. At every port my agents lurk, your exploits roar loudest among them and serve as a clarion call to all rogues that elect to spit in the face of empires. Though I am sequestered in early retirement from my season of piracy, my curious eye always scouts for upstarts of uncommon talent and flair. Indeed, you have my attention. Keep your broadsides directed at the corporations as their tyranny continues to nest all over the world. Freedom from their yoke shall come at a great cost. Will you pay the price? Hazard your soul and sail for liberty where I await. Captain Freeman, a son of liberty.
So, with my issues out of the way, let's get into what else the game had to offer, and this is mostly a post-story review of the content available, as the remainder of the story was really just unlocking the Indies portion of the map and opening up the entire play area. Once you've done this and successfully rallied against the DMC, the Dutch Merchant Company, one of the main protagonist factions in the game outside of the French, you are on your way to becoming a kingpin in the live service style of play, and endgame do start to kick in, so let's go ahead and go over that. First and foremost, the system that will carry throughout each 90-ish day season is the manufacturing and running product system via hostile takeovers, legendary heists, that sort of stuff. There are a few working parts here. Starting off, we'll go with the hostile takeovers. It's a small PvEVP event in which players will fight against a faction's ships and the settlements, defenses if they have any, as well as other players who are present. And the first participating player in the event to fill up a gauge based upon how many ships you've sunk, how many other players you've sunk. It's also reduced if you are sunk yourself. Whoever caps that out or has the most at the end of the hostile takeover time will obtain the facility. Now, one important thing is once you own that facility, it is yours. It cannot be taken by another player, which is a nice thing. This isn't like a node war in Archage or Black Desert Online. It's yours. It stays yours. Now, once you own this facility, you're then going to be using your silver you earn at these locations to produce various products that will then be sold for pieces of 8 at those locations. Red Isles, Coast of Africa, and the Indies will all have locations that need to be purchased the Coast of Africa and Indies have locations that do need to be purchased to unlock those portions of the map to participate in hostile takeovers there. And those will cost 5,000 pieces of 8, which will be a bit to save. When you have pieces of 8 that you have obtained from any reason, you cannot fast travel. So when your facilities are done manufacturing, you go to each individual one, then you sail. And there is kind of like a little bonus here. There are double or nothing bonuses, which then turns your PvE event into a PvPvE event. Other players can come try to take you on to steal your pieces of 8. However, in my experience, that doesn't happen too often. People seem to be mostly just happy competing with one another on the leaderboards. You'll also have the opportunity to buy various special crafting materials such as sugarcane, poppy, tobacco leaves, and juniper berries from different special contracts to make your own special helm, gin, rum, snuff, and heaven smoke at different grades ends. You can then accept delivery contracts from these to deliver these to different drop-off points. The mission of the stage will kind of know the ships you'll be outrunning or fighting through. Typically it's rogues or the seasonal faction, and of course privateers if you come across them. No fast traveling once again. These are longer journeys, typically 8,000 meters or more, but net a good amount of pieces of 8 upon delivery, depending upon distance traveled and quantity of item delivered, as well as quality of item. Legendary Heist pit players teaming up against a strong enemy fleets, where one player will be given the opportunity to grab the deed to a high-level manufacturer for their Kingpin Empire. Also, there are PvP-focused events around picking up legendary treasure maps or helm chests full of pieces of 8. On the upper end of all this, within your helm office at either port, you'll then have the opportunity to spend your pieces. You can purchase special fancy cosmetics, weapons, armor, or blueprints from the manager of the helms at each location, or you can reinvest them. By reinvesting them, you're upgrading your different manufacturers to create better items and to create more pieces of 8 faster per hour after funding them with silver. There is also a system from your desk at your helm offices to offer large upgrades across everything, such as 4% increase in production rates across all locations in a certain region, or all different items being manufactured of a specific type, or just generally things like that. You pick up chests of 8 faster in PvP events. And some will allow you to convert things like white skull rum into gold skull rum for more profits on your deliveries, giving you a new crafting recipe at your distillery. And these are probably better than the cosmetics currently, minus the peg leg gap. All of this, everything you've captured in all your upgrades, everything you've worked so hard for, reset every season. So, yeah, permanent, but nothing within the season will downgrade, which is nice, or at least currently. There's nothing go defend your manufacturer from an enemy faction or it gets downgraded. So, yeah. But why do all this? Well, each piece of 8 you earn increases your score on the weekly and seasonal leaderboard, providing more doubloons as a reward for even more varied cosmetic and item rewards from the helm managers. So, finally, let's talk about monetization within Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is a premium game. It is on the top end of premium games as well. It has a price tag. It is either $70 on your preferred platform or available through an Ubisoft Plus subscription on PC or with their deal with Xbox where you can play your Ubisoft Plus games on Xbox. Monetization, so far at least with how it has started off, has no bearing on actual form and function of your ships. It is all cosmetics, sails, emblems, color schemes, crew outfits, captain outfits, pets, you name it. None of it has any bearing on actual form and function of your ships, which I approve of. There is a battle pass with a total of 90 levels, and that is split into 3 different levels kind of themed around what's in them. Anything of form and function is a free tier, from the furniture you can install on your ship to a new ship, weapons, whatever. Every reward that comes from a paid portion of the battle pass is either cosmetic or purchasable in-game currency, being the gold pieces that you can spend in the item store. Back to that, split up 3 mini passes. There's 3 levels of 30. Tiers are pretty easy to get. You have weekly challenges that give you extra XP, daily challenges that give you extra XP, stuff like that. There's also free rewards at level 45 and one at level 90 for completing the battle pass. Level 45 currently is a new support class medium ship, and level 90 was a pet. So there is even free cosmetic items in the battle pass. So currently, there's nothing really remotely close to pay to win. There's no advantage you can have by buying the battle pass over not purchasing it. There's no increase in experience gained or anything like that, which I do greatly approve of, which is a nice thing. But that's how it is right now. Who knows how long it will stay that way through next season or the season after that, or if after this season it's already changed up to pay for power. I am immensely against pay for power. I absolutely despise it. One of the most popular games right now has pay for power in it, and I despise it, and I'm the bad guy for not liking it. Oh well. Overall, Skull and Bones just has been an absolute blast to play, messing with different functional builds on different types of ships, from different close range tank builds to status effect fast ship ramming builds with fire and flooding and torn sails. I really haven't messed around with a healing ship yet, but I'm mostly playing alone or with like another tank or another DPS, so it doesn't really feel that much to me, like I need to that much. There's a ton of different endgame activities: PvP, PvE, PvEVP, PvE that turns into PvP. It's all here. It's all done rather interestingly. Building up your Kingpin Empire, it's like some sort of grand pirate RTS light, fighting against giant sea monsters, ghost ships. All of this is doable solo, or even better, with up to 2 friends in your little group. Speaking of that, one thing I really miss is there's no like crew system, like a guild or a clan or something. That really needs to be in here. That would be much better, and have like a little clan space you can decorate. But whatever. Seriously, I do recommend giving this an 8-hour trial. The 8-hour trial a try. It is available on every platform. I didn't want to give this game a second thought, but upon recommendations from numerous friends who were playing it and who have purchased it, I gave it a shot. And not one of them were disappointed in the game either, so I was like, well, it's an 8-hour trial. I'll give it a go. And it's actually a super fun, deep experience that is truly unique compared to other live service titles out there, or even any other games out there in general, as you're playing as a crew, a captain, and its ship. No, this is not Assassin's Creed Black Flag 2. It was never advertised that way, but you still play as a captain and crew on their ship, and honestly, that's good enough for me. It's been an extreme blast. It's unique currently in the gaming space. It's not just another first-person shooter. It's not another third-person cover-based shooter. It's not another looter shooter. There seems to actually have some legs underneath it, albeit some sea legs, thanks to Ubisoft's idiotic CEO. But like I said, game, It's extremely fun, and that's good enough for me. See you on the high seas. Maybe.